All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to 2025 and our first character review of 2025 and building advice. And today we got a doozy. We got the brand new Hero King Mont, freshly released here on JP, not yet available on global. For those who are curious, I guess I should just include this at the start of pretty much all of my videos. Probably about 1 month's time, but we'll see. This is a very story heavily related character, so that might be. Now, to start off this video, I'm going to say that things are looking very good. Mont is already looking quite powerful, and I expect him to be one of those characters that will probably be top tier in the meta. But it is still early. We still have a new vision card that'll come out the next week. And what will happen with new characters in the future, well, how that will push Mont around, we'll see. But for early descriptions, he is the anti-physical type tank, and that does reflect quite well, although he has a lot going for him just in terms of survivability, which is what you would expect. And of course, the new spike effect, which is basically a reflection of physical damage, not magical damage, just physical for now. But I would expect this to be the new going thing for tanks. As for master ability 3s on tanks, are we going to see the spike effect? Probably not incredibly soon. I would say that any character like this that has a new effect that is highly coded and exciting usually keeps their effect for quite a few months. So I would probably say that this character will be good for at least 6 months, possibly quite longer. Again, the last Mont lasted a good amount of time, so I have a pretty good feeling about how long this character will last. But I think that he is also coming into a strong element, and that is really good news for him. But I'm digressing. I'm getting way too off topic. First off, this is the light party we have built him into. Yes, with friend unit equipment, and as you can see, we are sporting the Hermes sandals, which is a little bit of a problem usually, but I don't think it's too much of a problem. Today we also have Dark Bahamut on him. Not exactly the tankiest Esper you've ever seen in your life, and I mean that by basically any definition, but there you go. And we have the new equipment. So first off, HP about 15k. I've seen builds of him already hitting 20k, but I think that those builds are not personal builds. I think that those are friend builds, friend unit builds. No, never mind. They might be, but they have better equipment overall, and they're still sporting just completely better stats, in all honesty. So 15k HP, 1300 attack. We're looking at some accuracy increase, a little evasion just because of the other vision cards. 122 speed is quite nice. 4 move is also quite nice. 30 single target and 25 AoE. But again, this can be built better depending on preferences. As for elemental resistance and, just resistances in general, has a lot of curse resistance, which is really nice because he is looking to survive, keep his HP high. He has a lot of tools of doing that, so we do want curse to be completely disabled here. Also stun resistance. Now this goes into the other thing that this character is very evidently trying to do, which is just completely kill evade, and I think he has a pretty good chance of doing it and making it really annoying for opponents. Other than that, good against slash, shooting, and actually fairly good against magic. Piercing, not super great. Also strike, kind of his weakness, but neither of those damage types are main right now. Nobody's really doing it, so maybe this will be Gilgamesh's time to shine. But honestly, as an anti-physical tank, you would expect mages to be the natural way of just killing this character off, and that's not entirely true from what I've seen. Either way, Mont also with his commander ability essentially being for quests mean that he is going to be great if you haven't gotten through Chamber of Arms, for just using light and completely destroying probably Chamber of Arms. However, I think every other piece of content he'll be really just great in as a main character. So now we're going to talk about some equipment. First off, his new great sword. Nice piece of equipment here, to be honest. Defense penetration and AoE attack resistance penetration, as well as AP bonus. But you know what? It's a reliquary world. I think that the reliquary greatsword and reliquary great armor are absolutely perfect for this character. Unfortunately, this trust mastery probably not going to cut the mustard. You can see the stats on it. I won't say anything more about that. The effect: defense by 30 for 4 turn for allies. Bit of a short buff range, so they have to be right up close. Single target resistance of 25 and regen, which is nice with a high HP character like this. Even if he just casts it on himself, it's not terrible. But again, reliquary armor getting that extra bonuses to keep him alive will probably be preferred. Alright. And next, let's talk about his support skills. Now he has Rune Knight, which is an extra source of accuracy and 30% attack boost. That's actually pretty good if you want to push more DPS with this character. And Mont isn't terrible at DPS. He's a great tank that can also deal pretty nice DPS too. But here's our wall of text ability. 8 generation natural of 5. Reduces physical damage taken of 12%. Magic and physical damage based resistance from 3 to 6. Initial AP of 15. And grants the following effects of: upon a hit by him, dispel haste, physical and magical damage increases, as well as decreasing chain resistance by 30 turns. This is an incredibly powerful. You'll never ever take this off this character. It's just way too much survivability, way too much value. And the fact that all of this stuff is completely, just can't be dispelled is crazy. I mean, just the fact that you can dispel haste permanently with any attack that you, provided that you hit the opponent with an attack, is incredible value. So yeah, that one's always really, really nice. This one, move and agility. We love these two things. This is great. This is, again, going to push your tank forward quite nicely and into battle above other units. And I've been trying really hard in this video not to say the Y word, but Una, who will stay back, range units who will stay well back, out of the range of this character. This character will go in first. Tank hits and activate secondary attacks quite nicely, so great news. But yeah, I think that these two support skills are absolutely perfect for Mont already, but he has some nice backups. He has jump +1 if the terrain is particularly bad from Dragoon. He also has HP and healing power, which incredibly synergizes with the game plan of just staying alive. And you can have an attack and accuracy bonus. And all of these are generally good. You'll probably be taking out the move and agility for the other ones if you're really wanting to go with the tank game plan. But this is an embarrassment of riches in terms of support skills. And they're all really nice. And I have to say that I probably, agility is always king. But the Dragoon healing and HP power is a really nice synergy with all the stuff we're about to talk about. As for counters slash and missile damage. With reducing damage taken, this is the ideal choice for him. The other two are just the Dragoon and Rune Knight of countering and dealing damage, but at short range. So it's better just to protect yourself against damage. And given that, Una is popular, this is a pretty good anti-gunner based tank as well. Now getting into Limit Burst, this big massive one, 240% mod, 49 AP, 67% chance of immobilize. So unless you're running immobilize resistance, you're almost certainly going to hit it on the opponent, which works very good with Mont's ability of physical and magical damage base resistances being undispellable. Basically keeps this character very, very safe, and your opponent from moving around, potentially getting close to those gunners that can just take pot shots from high range. Physical also increases physical distance-based resistance and magical distance-based resistance for this character too. So this limit burst is again just contributing heavily to the gameplay. Now, looking at what we will potentially get rid of for our sub-jobs before getting into the sub-jobs. First, this one, decrease slash attack by a factor of 60 for 3 turns, 165 mod and 100% hit chance. Great against evasion. Since evasion is incredibly prevalent, this ability pays for itself in a large way. And this ability increased chain resistance by 40 for 4 turns for allies, which is a pretty big boost. Nullifies poison, blind, paralyze, and disable for allies too. I have to say that I quite like the sub job in. Certainly better than Dragoon, which other than protect and reaction block, which both nice things for Mont, there really isn't too much in that Dragoon has going for it, and I don't think most of the time that protect will outweigh what you're getting these 2 abilities. As for Nightblade, piercing resistance and missile resistance is nice if gunners or piercing become too much of a problem. It also has stun in there, which could be good, and decrease healing power and counter chance. But honestly, I think that his primary job is just so good with these 2 sub abilities that you almost always want to run them. And now we get into the main job. Now this first ability is essentially just short range, deal some damage, low AP cost, but restores HP by a factor of 30% for every time he kills an opponent, which again, 20k HP, very easily possible with this character at 140. So that's a good chunk of HP restore for doing this. Our next ability, increase slash and missile resistance by 25% for self only. Grants the effect of dispelling ignore fatal damage for 4 turns. And when a friendly unit is within range, cast 2 abilities. These 2 abilities reduce physical damage taken for allies by 40%. So running this guy with frontline attackers as opposed to gunners is completely viable, and I would say actually quite good. And allies also get slash resistance by 25%. So Mont is doing a lot, not only to keep himself alive, but his friends alive too, with the combination of these abilities. Next up, this one, what would a tank be without this ability? Well, reduce physical damage taken by 50% for 4 times. Self, increased chance of being targeted by 12. There's your hate generation that you always want with a character like this. Reduce physical and magical damage taken by 20% each. Debuff effect weakening by 25 for 4 turns for self. Accuracy increased by 30%, and when his HP drops below 50%, he gets an HP restore 1 time of a 40% boost. All of this working incredibly synergistic. Well, this ability, an attack that can decrease light resistance by 30%, strengthening other light-based units, and 200% mod. So it ain't no slouch in terms of dealing damage. And again, Greatswords does have the potential of AoE resistance penetration from his main Greatsword to attack high. This AoE decreased luck by 25%, just in case you really wanted to put the screws to evasion. Evasion can do a lot now against 100% hit chance. They can do a lot to increase their luck, but now luck can potentially be reduced by 25%, and well, that's pretty nasty. Also increased slash attack resistance penetration by 30, 200% mod on this, and everything it hits absorb 50% of the damage done. And our last ability that we have to talk about, great physical barrier for targets, reduce counter chance by 100, 200% mod on it. It is a double hit ability, and decrease healing power by 40 is your opponent actually heal. Not very likely. And of course the spike effect, which we have talked about before, which is just basically if an opponent tries to hit Mont with a physical base attack, a percentage of the damage will be reflected back on opponent. So all of this synergizes very well to make an incredibly strong unit. There's no doubt in my mind that Mont is an incredibly powerful unit, backed up by two elements. I was going to say one element, but light and dark characters will synergize well. Slash-based characters will synergize well. Physical characters synergize well. Gunners will synergize well. There's almost nobody that won't want a character like this on their team. The only real question is how powerful he actually is. And to sum up, just talking about this is a character that has already been rated quite highly by both sites, including Game 8, that has actually put him at triple S tier, at least for the moment. A light tank with high physical durability has a spike effect on physical reflect. Skills that can reduce physical damage taken, can destroy physical barriers, and perform 2 consecutive attacks. Contributes higher power with subsequent physical attacks. And high curse resistance. Rarely hinders recovery, so most of his recovery abilities are safe. Once you add in Trustmaster runes with just a little bit extra curse resistance, curse shouldn't be a factor or problem. So yes, I think that Mont is absolutely top tier of all the characters that we have seen thus far this year. I think that he will do quite well. So to end it, let's show off that Limit Burst animation, which is also, just as a bonus, quite cool looking. But I hope you've enjoyed this look. I think that build-wise, it's a tough thing to say. Equipment, I think it's reliquaries, pretty much guaranteed, although there is an argument for the Greatsword, depending on who you're running him with. Reliquary Greatsword might do a little bit better on some other characters. Greatswords looking like they have gotten a really big bonus for them. And as for teammates, I'd say that normally what I would like to do is say that yes, Yuna 100% of the time, but the more I've read this review or read about this character, the more I think it's just pretty obvious that he's just going to be great with a ton of different characters, and will probably be the backbone in many teams to come. So next video, we'll take him out for a test drive. Thanks so much for watching. Later.